Hey guys, Griever back here, bringing you guys another gaming review this week, and it's none other than another Ubisoft title, as you can tell by the description. And from the last review, as I told you guys, we'll be doing quite a few Ubisoft titles in the coming months for gaming reviews as I platinum them, and this time it is none other than Assassin's Creed Origins, the one where you follow Bayek, the one where you're in Egypt, the one that takes a very different turn. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this was a very big change into the RPG elements of the Assassin's Creed series at the beginning of this game. Am I mistaken in saying that? Because as long as I've had Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and I know I should have played it, I have not played it yet. The last one I played was Assassin's Creed 3. So the change from mission-oriented, very, very only stealth, if you're caught, you're going to die, sort of mentality, changed quite a bit with this level up and the RPG system and all that stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of RPGs and action RPGs as long as I understand the core mechanics and I, get in the realm of things. I'm really intrigued by them. I really enjoy them. So this game was much different than I initially thought it was. And at the very beginning, I was like, this isn't what I really signed up for. I want to do stealth. I want to be stealthy. But as you play the game, you learn that, oh yeah, you're still got the stealth element, and you can still be very stealthy if you want to. Now, I have also played Assassin's Creed Odyssey at the recording time of this video, so I can honestly say that Origins might have started something great. Odyssey did it better. They encompassed a perfect version, a wonderful split between stealth-oriented and just brutal attack-oriented. Just RPG all the way, action style versus stealthy and espionage and that kind of stuff. They had that perfect balance. You could do both, you could focus on one, and you won't really be that detrimental either way in regards to the rest of the missions and the story. So, but Origins, I was a little mystified about because I'm always very intrigued by mythology, and I'm always very intrigued by anything past basically 1900s. I've already done my studies of World War I and II, and the Civil Wars and Korea and all that stuff, like the history of Canada and where we've come from the 60s and all that stuff, music and literature and all that stuff. I've grasped enough of that through schooling and stuff like that. So anything pre that, I'm always very intrigued by. I'm always very interested. The Assassin's Creed games are basically, a historian's kind of wet dream sort of idea, right? Being able to actually immerse yourself in the world. And Origins does a fantastic job of trying to replicate the way certain things work. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of inconsistencies with the way things actually were, but it still leads you to want more. For example, I knew a little bit about ancient Egypt. I knew a bit about the mythology, but I didn't know much about the people surrounding it. For example, Cleopatra and stuff like that. Cleopatra. She was a pharaoh of Egypt one time. But I did not know all about how she came to power and all this stuff. And then it intrigued me enough to then do that discovery tour that is an optional, it's like a DLC thing in the game. I don't know when it was released because, of course, I'm playing this game post, it's released a couple years later. But the discovery tour, I actually went through the tour and I checked most of the tours and I was listening and I was intrigued and interested and all that stuff. So as a history buff, this is something that really, really I enjoy. The Assassin's Creed games really get to me quite a lot, and I'm more interested in learning than necessarily all about the highest attack and defense bonuses sort of idea. So this game was phenomenal in the sense of its historical representation. It enthralled me enough to do my own private research after the game or during the game. I would go and look up things, and I found out, okay, Alexander the Great came and all this stuff. Like, just the history lessons. Like, this is a game review, so I'm not going to bore you too long, guys. But I'm just trying to say is that, as a history buff, this is something that really enthralled me into the game's world, and I found myself consistently constantly wanting to play more and more and find more historical figures, talk to more characters, find out how they wanted to represent them with their poetic license, Ubisoft, how they wanted to represent them and their views on the world. So I really, really enjoyed this game. Gameplay, alright, let's just do story first, because story-wise, it was really good. We get the official origins of the assassins. We get the how the symbol came to be. There's just a lot going on here. Now, honestly, I find the ending of the game, there's some stuff missing. So, spoilers ahead. Spoilers ahead right away. 3, 2, 1, we're good. So, the ending of the game to me feels hollow in a sense. I felt like we were building to something really great. You know, you're fighting this order of the ancients. You're fighting them, and it gets bigger and broader, and all the deception going on, like the crocodile stuff. And I was just like, whoa, did not see that coming, you know, and things like that. I was always intrigued by the different layers that this got involved. And of course, Bayek, you're the character of Bayek, you know, the first assassin, so to speak. And you're going through all this stuff, the pyramid puzzles, all this stuff, fighting against all these. And the boss battles each one is slightly different, just enough to make it feel like it's an actual boss fight, like this is a different fight. And I really, really enjoyed that. I loved the concept of going out into the random sands and finding random ruins and going through the pyramids and finding all these things that aren't necessary to the story, but you actually found them, like just all this concept. But at the end of the day, when you were riding around and you were doing the story, there was a few things that I found lackluster at the very, very end. Like, I was great up until that point, like the Order of the Ancients, the formation of the Assassin's Guild, you know, and all this stuff. That was great, and you were working for Cleopatra, and your wife was helping, you know, Aya and stuff. And I have to admit, the Aya missions bored me to tears. They really did. I wish I never had to play them. It kind of feels like the Miles Morales and the Mary Jane missions from Insomniac's Spider-Man. I was not a huge fan. But suffice it to say, at the end of all this, we got this, like, okay, Bayek was the one who inevitably, I mean, we saw what happened. At the beginning of the game, we see what happens. He murdered his son, right? And that is tragic, because he was just they were trying to escape, he was trying to save him, and he ended up stabbing him, you know, by mistake. He didn't intend to, right? But throughout the game, it is basically, it's implied that he has kept this truth to himself. He told Aya, yeah, this order of people killed our son. Not that I stabbed him. And I've been waiting. Like, I was waiting for that confrontation where Aya, you end up killing your own wife or something. There's this confrontation with Aya or something about this. Like, you never told me. You're the one who actually killed our son. His blood is on your hands, blah, blah, blah. Like, we never got that confrontation. We never got that feeling. Like, I'm great with Aya being this powerful, powerful woman who's going out doing her own thing, slaying her own Order of the Ancients people. That's fine. Like, when we meet up with her, we're like, okay, we got like 1 or 2 marks left. She's like, no, you don't. I killed them both. They're gone. You know? And it's like, whoa, our wife's pretty badass. This is cool. And, you know, even when we control her, as I said, some of her missions bored me. But overall, I was okay with controlling her. I thought she was a really cool character and stuff. And I thought the intrigue, I was just like, it's some of that heart-pounding, you know, that unsettling feeling you kind of get sometimes. It's kind of like watching, if you guys have ever watched a like 30-minute comedy show, right? Like, what's the plot of every comedy episode? Take anything. Friends, Big Bang, Everybody Loves Raymond, take your pick, right? How I Met Your Mother. Take any of your favorite comedy shows. What is a common trend in these shows? Okay, the first 5 minutes, we already know the characters. What happens? They set up something like, we broke this very precious ornament, or we didn't pick up the kids from school and stuff, and there's a big chase, and you're trying to always hide it from X other character, whether it's a wife or a mother or a father. You're always trying to hide this thing, and then it comes out, and then they have that big moment, like, I'm mad at you, and then they all, reconcile at the end of the episode, right? That's standard for most comedy shows. Big Bang Theory, Sheldon does something stupid, Leonard tries to cover it up, Penny finds out, she gets mad at Leonard, they reconvene at the end of the 5 minutes left in the episode, and they're like, yeah, it was Sheldon, and then they have another laugh at the end of the episode. Very common formula in a lot of these shows, right? So, but that unsettling feeling you get when you watch that, like, when everyone's going to confront, and you're like, they're going to find out, that feeling is what I felt every single time Bayek and Aya had a scene together. All the story scenes, and like that trip with the boat, and you were going along towards Cleopatra and all that stuff, and they're just talking about their son and his murderers and how they're going to make them pay and stuff, and I'm like, Bayek, you're the murderer, dude. You are the murderer, and clearly you have not come clean to your wife. I mean, circumstances aside, he's the one who killed them. Nobody else. Forced hand, sure, but still, blood on Bayek's hands, nobody else. There's no Order of the Ancient that killed his son. So, I'm sitting there, and I was waiting. And then the end of the game happens, and I'm waiting for this build-up, and we go through all the stuff with, the Caesar stuff and the Cleopatra stuff and all that stuff, right? And I'm kind of intrigued by it, but I'm more interested in what's going on with Bayek and I and how this is going to affect either their rise to power or their fall from grace or whatever, right? And I was interested in the formation of the assassins. It's like these are the people we've collected. Here we're going to start a creed, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then here at the end, it never happens. And it's not like they go their separate ways, which to me, it kind of makes sense, but it kind of doesn't. Like, they basically together as people, they couldn't get over the death of their child sort of idea, and they have their own goals to fill. They can't settle down once again. They can't rest anymore. To me, they haven't been doing that for a number of years, and it seems like every time they saw each other, it's like, my love, and blah, 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 and they were having sex every time. I think there were 2 times they did that, and it was just kind of like, so you guys want to do the adventuring without the sex part and the love part. Why? Like, it felt a little hollow. It would have made more sense if Aya had figured it out, or had found out that Bayek was the one who killed our son, and I can't forgive you for that, and though I'm not going to try to kill you or whatever, the assassins have to go one way, I have to do my own thing. I can't be a part of this. I can't be with you, knowing all this, you lied to me, that kind of stuff. Like, my love for you is still there, so I won't try to kill you, but I can't forgive what you've done. Way more sense. And I feel like this is something that was cut from the game or something, because it was building to that point, and it's a serious flaw with the game's story, and it makes it one of the weaker stories in the Assassin's Creed series as a result. It really does to me, because at the end of the day, there's no real reason why they can't still stay husband and wife and just do their own thing. They can be one of those I myself have a wife who lives in America. I'm in Canada. I know what long distance is like, people. So don't tell me that within the same country of Egypt, you guys can't, still be husband and wife and still can't, rendezvous every 6 months. Don't tell me you can't. You're in one country. I'm separated by 2. So at the end of the day, I found it very weak. It was a weak reasoning why they ended things. It was a weak, the ending with the spear in the ground and stuff, and the assassins, upside down V and stuff like that. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But I was just like, no. We needed that build up. So I'm going to stop ranting about the story, but suffice to say, she never finds out about this. And that's dumb. That's stupid. It should have been a thing. It should have been the core reason why they can't be together anymore. And it should be the reason why Bayek put himself to the creed, and eventually Aya just goes off and does her own thing, right? So it would have made much more sense, and we never get that satisfaction, and it's probably the worst game ending I've seen in a very, very long time. Ever since games have gone the story route, video games have done this very story-oriented. We're almost getting a cinematic experience with our games over the last 10 years. So this type of thing that could have been forgiven back maybe 15, 20 years ago cannot be forgiven anymore. Whereas we're making these interactive, full cinematic storyline games as big as a blockbuster movie hit, you can't fail at the ending part. You can't leave plot threads like that, those huge plot threads, open-ended with no answer. So story, while a great story at its core, a failure of an ending and plot threads in my opinion. So that's enough about that. Let's go on to gameplay. As I've already said before, the introduction of RPG elements may have been in Black Flag. I don't know because I haven't played that yet. I will be playing that eventually. But my last one was Assassin's Creed 3, and this felt very different. This felt very, RPG heavy and stuff like that, and very combat oriented. Whereas I wanted to jump into a stealth game, and this kind of threw me for a loop at first. But it was a very easy to jump into game. Nothing went too crazy at first, and it was enough to make me want to keep playing. And eventually, once you get good with the system, and it's very tutorial handy, like it's very cookie cutter. It hands you a lot of the answers very early on. It holds your hand for the first couple hours of the game until you get the knack of it. Really good. The introduction of the eagle thing was kind of cool, kind of like that, spotting out my victims sort of idea, and then going around and spotting out the enemies and doing that kind of stuff. Kind of an interesting concept. I like the hunting. The hunting was cool. All the collecting of crocodile skins is like, okay, like I need these lion skins, and you'll get the super rare skins if you go kill the lions, but it's a dangerous enemy. Same with crocodiles and stuff. But if you hunt the lesser ones, you'll get the lesser skins, but they're still valuable. I really enjoyed this concept of resource gathering, collecting materials. I really like that. The upgrading of the weapons, all that stuff. All these newer systems, as I said, once again, I have a gap with Black Flag, but this was really, really interesting, and I really enjoyed this game. The gameplay-wise, all the puzzles, everything was really good. It was a lot of fun. I didn't really find anything too broken. I found that introducing the elephant, the war elephants, the Mumakai from Lord of the Rings, pretty much, introducing them was fine with these separate stage battles. However, I felt like it was one of those things where nobody was going to attempt this. Like, I died a bunch of times when I was in my high level 30s, and then I didn't go back until I was power level to the 9s with the best gear and the best weapons, to the point that the boss fights, I think I died once against one elephant fight and cleared all the elephant fights. I am a little disappointed that they could not have geared that better. The idea of fighting a war elephant and stuff felt really cool, and the rewards that you would get would feel really good. But at the end of the day, you power leveled yourself to the point that this was your last real challenge, so any rewards you got from these elephants didn't really amount to much. It should have been a tough challenge, but a very doable challenge at low level, or not low level, but mid-level sort of idea, because the hassle of restarting the fight was just too much. 2 loading screens to have one fight, and if you died in the first minute, you were back to 2 loading screens, and the loading screens were very long. So I wasn't willing to invest 5 minutes per battle, of loading time by trial and error. I just wasn't willing to invest it. So there were a few broken things. As I said, the most part, it was really good game. Gameplay-wise, the combat system, the stealth system, everything was really good. The open world concept, everything just really good. Ubisoft knows what they're doing. There's not much more to say. Sound design and everything was really good. The music was on point. The voice acting I really enjoyed. Everything was really great. What else was there? The trophy list. Well, as I said before, the trophy list, the whole elephant thing, once again, you power level yourself until you're just godly. One trophy. One trophy. There was a couple of trophies that gave me a little trouble. A couple of trophies you need to keep your eye out for. But at the end of the day, one trophy that really got to me was discovering every single dot on the map and completing it. The issue with that is the dots on the map are white. Egypt is a very sandy place and a very golden yellow. So trying to find some of these things was a little challenging, a little complicated, right? So, I mean, once again, after I've already been playing Odyssey, and I can honestly say that Odyssey did it better. They don't make you do that, which is thank the nines that that's the case. You know, that is such a better way to do it. You can still get 100+ hours out of these games without making us do every single menial, cave and bandit camp and everything like that, right? The only other thing is somebody should have told somebody somewhere. There should be a quest when you start it about those stupid yellow, looking like lightsaber wannabe crystals in all these tombs, and how important they are. Because I did the tombs. I did everything. And I was picking them up at random, being like, I'll just pick them up, I can't sell them, but whatever. And I got to the last one, which is needed for a trophy, and I had 41 out of 50. And so I had to go back. And it took me probably about a few hours to go to each tomb again, crawl through it, look for all the items, redo some of the puzzles. And some of them, I would spend like 20 minutes looking in a place, and I had already collected all the crystals. So I wish the importance of these crystals was somewhere mentioned more heavily or more in your face. Pick these up. That would have been just a line of dialogue from Bayek where he says, these seem important. Maybe I should try to see if I can collect them all. That would have tipped me off right there. Something along those lines. Because going back through was such a daunting task, going back through all these puzzles. Like doing them the first time, fine, but going back through with no reward at the end was annoying. So, trophy-wise, it was a pretty good list. But overall, once again, I didn't really, They tried to stockpile, try to make it a lengthier trophy list. And it's not too difficult. It's the right amount of difficulty for me. Give it about a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 difficulty rating. Just patience, take your time. It's a longer game. It's even longer trophy list. Take your time with it. I've platinumed it myself. I did the Discovery Tour. I have not done any of the DLC, so that's a thing. But I don't know how that stuff fares, but overall the whole weapon systems, the horses, all this stuff, it's all really cool. It's a great game, guys. I don't really think there's anything more to say. I would definitely recommend the game to anybody who loves RPG games, anybody who likes adventure open world games, but I don't know if I would recommend it to people who are a huge fan of stealth games similar to Metal Gear and Splinter Cell and the original Assassin's Creed games, because these games are starting to gear more towards combat oriented, and stealth is a thing but not a requirement sort of thing. So I would say that I'm okay with the direction the series seems to have taken. However, it's not. It definitely has changed. It's evolved over time. So anyway, and no, I don't give a crap about Layla and all that stuff. The whole Animus thing. I swear to God, they could just do away with that. They really could. Nobody cares anymore. The Desmond thing, stopping the 2012 end of the world thing, which I went to a 2012 party that me and my buddy hosted. A great time, 3-day bender. It was fantastic. But the world didn't end. So, and apparently it's because Desmond Miles saved our day. But, spoilers, I guess, for Assassin's Creed 3. But, at the end of the day, the whole Animus thing, just give it up. We just want to play as assassins in different points in time. Nobody cares about all the other stuff. So, at least that's the way I felt. I felt that way in Assassin's Creed 1. I felt that way in Assassin's Creed 3. And I felt that way in Assassin's Creed Origins. So, what did you guys think of the game? These are my thoughts on the game. I hope this review hasn't run too long. 25 minutes, that's not too bad. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm always like to hear them, sort of idea. So, Once again, like, comment, and subscribe. It's always appreciated. This has been Griever with your gaming review for Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Origins. Great game. Hope you guys checked it out. And if you have checked it out, let me know what your thoughts were on the story and the concepts and the new direction of gameplay in the comment section down below. And if I have intrigued you to play this game or check it out or anything like that, let me know that too down in the comment section down below. This has been Griever. See you back here next time. Bye-bye.